heads like, come on, let's talk.
Fatwa by the narcissist here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez.
Well, last week, the New York City Landmarks Preservation Commission cleared the way for the construction of a proposed Muslim cultural center and mosque 2 blocks from Ground Zero. New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg praised the vote, calling it a victory for religious freedom. But the acrimony over the location of the proposed 13-story, $100 million project known as Park 51, and often referred to as the Cordoba House, is far from over. One day after the commission gave the go-ahead to the project, the American Center for Law and Justice, a right-wing group founded by the evangelist Pat Robertson, filed suit to block its construction. On Tuesday, New York Governor David Paterson entered the debate and offered developers of the project state-owned land to relocate the center far away from the site of the former World Trade Center. The developers rejected the offer late Wednesday.
The Cordoba House has become a national controversy, with everyone from Sarah Palin to the Anti-Defamation League weighing in. Last month, Sarah Palin devoted 2 Twitter updates to oppose the mosque, calling it an unnecessary provocation. Now a leading social conservative, Brian Fisher of the American Family Association, says no more mosques should be built anywhere in the country. Here in New York, it's also an electoral issue, with Republican candidate for governor Rick Lazio lambasting his Democratic opponent Andrew Cuomo for supporting the project. Here's a sampling of Rick Lazio, Newt Gingrich, and Abraham Foxman of the Anti-Defamation League publicly defending their opposition to the construction of the Park 51 project over the past week. It begins with Rick Lazio.
This site here is so close to Ground Zero that the building that they're going to demolish, the historic building they're going to demolish to build this mosque, was damaged by the landing gear of one of the planes that hit the Trade Center. We had over 3,000 Americans that were murdered in this location. It is sacred ground. And the fact that we have an insensitivity about moving forward and what that means for the families of those who lost loved ones in 9/11, the first responders, the people closest to the community, to me, it compounds the question, what are they hiding? Why doesn't Andrew Cuomo step up as the Attorney General who has jurisdiction over this issue and do what people like me, Rudy Giuliani, and the Anti-Defamation League have been calling on? Let's have a clear accounting, open the books. Let's see who's giving the money to construct this mosque. Is it foreign governments? Are they radical organizations? We deserve to know.
We'd be quite happy to have a mosque built near the World Trade Center the morning that one church and one synagogue are opened in Mecca. But I don't want anyone from the world of Islam to lecture me on sensitivity as long as the Saudis lock up anybody who practices any religion other than Islam.
I believe on this issue, the voices, the feelings, the emotions of the families of the victims, of the responders, I think take precedent maybe over even the mayors. If I had my way, I agreed with Tom Friedman's column today in the New York Times. He said if he had $100 million, he would build this mosque in Saudi Arabia or in Pakistan, where you cannot build a church or you cannot build a synagogue. That's where you need to show tolerance and love and understanding.
Abe Foxman of the Anti-Defamation League there. Well, the Obama administration's refusing to weigh in on the controversy. As for the White House stance, Press Secretary Robert Gibbs declined to offer an opinion, calling it a local issue.
I think we have, I think you've heard this administration and the last administration talk about the fact that we are not at war with a religion, but with an idea that has corrupted our religion. But that having been said, I'm not from here going to get involved in local decision making like that.
Interestingly, recent polls suggest while a majority of Americans oppose the construction of the mosque near Ground Zero, a majority of those who live in Manhattan actually support its construction. A CNN poll reports 68% of the country opposes the project, and according to a Marist poll, 53% of New York City residents oppose it as well. But the same Marist poll also reports 69% of Manhattan residents support the construction of the mosque and Islamic center near Ground Zero. For more on this, we're joined by Daisy Khan. She's the executive director of the American Society for Muslim Advancement, one of the main organizations behind the Mosque project. And she is the wife of Imam Feisal Abdul Rauf. Also with us in Philadelphia, Stephan Salisbury, cultural writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer. His most recent book is called Mohamed's Ghosts, An American Story of Love and Fear in the Homeland. His latest article, posted on TomDispatch.com, is called Mosque Mania, Anti-Muslim Fears on the Far Right. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Daisy Khan, let's begin with you. Explain what it is that you are attempting to do and where the cultural center and mosque is located.
Well, thank you, Amy, for having me on the show. This idea goes back to 1999 when Imam Feisal, who is an Islamic scholar, an imam who has been an imam in Tribeca for 27 years, looked at how religions evolve in America over its course, and spoken to rabbis and Catholics, and determined that the evolution or trajectory of Americanizing a religion happens primarily with institution building, and that once you go from a place of worship to an institute that serves the general public is when that faith becomes Americanized. And so establishing something like a YMCA or the equivalent of a JCC or a 92nd Street Y, which would be the Muslim equivalent, would be necessary for the Muslim community to do in order to integrate itself and call itself an American religion. So this idea has been on the books for a while, and in 2000, prior to 2000, we actually tried to purchase another building called the McBurney Y on 23rd Street, and we did not succeed. Somebody else came along with more money, and it's only recently, because of the need for additional prayer space in Lower Manhattan because of the influx of so many immigrants, and our congregational prayers happen on Friday. There has been an increase in people that have been coming for prayers, that there was a desire to look for another site, and it was primarily to be in the same neighborhood, because our current mosque was only 12 blocks from Ground Zero, and so one of our congregants, Soho Properties, Sharif Kamal, took it upon himself to look for a site that might be suitable. And it is that search that resulted in finding this property, which was, which had been vacant for 9 years.
And were you surprised by this sudden reaction in the final moments of your getting approval, or in the final weeks of your getting approval of the project? The enormous reaction, not just in New York City, but across the country by some of these political leaders?
Well, we went in front of the community board primarily to gauge the receptivity of the community board, whether they would welcome a center that would be larger than just a prayer space. And of course, the first community board meeting there was a unanimous vote, 15-0, and everybody was in favor because they saw the benefit that it would bring to the community. In fact, they suggested that perhaps maybe we should consider a 9/11 memorial, and we did. We said we'll be happy to include that. And then many of our politicians, our borough president welcomed it. And, we are already in the neighborhood, and we, are New Yorkers. We are Americans. We may be Muslim, but this tragedy was our tragedy as much as anybody else's. So we didn't see ourselves as the other. We saw ourselves as being part and parcel of this. So we knew that there might be some people that we might have to bring along, but we did not expect a coordinated national opposition against this project.
So what are your plans right now? I mean, let's be clear. Again, this is a mosque and cultural center 2 blocks away from Ground Zero. It's the site of the old Burlington coat factory. It had been vacant for 9 years. The Landmarks Committee said this is fine for you to do. Do you plan simply to move forward?
Currently, we are assessing everything. The first thing that we've done just this past Tuesday, we met with a group of 9/11 families. Our organization, American Society for Muslim Advancement, my husband's organization, Imam Feisal's organization, Cordoba Initiative, in fact, that's the organization that has taken this idea forward. We have been in the bridge building business for a long time, about a decade, and our mandate has been to build bridges between Muslims and people of other religions and cultures, and we've just met with the 9/11 family group. We want to have a dialogue. We've discovered that there really has not been a national dialogue since 9/11. And that what this project has done is sparked a lot of discussion that should have been had after 9/11. We went to war. We never had a proper discussion. So when we met with the 9/11 families, we were administering to their pain, but many of them came around. So I think that we need to have a bigger conversation about religion in America, about Islam in America, about 9/11, its impact on America, and also its impact on history in general. Because I think this is a historical moment, and we have to seize on it, and we have to be open about it. So our focus right now is going to be to talk to as many people as we can.
I'd like to bring in Stephan Salisbury, a cultural writer for the Philadelphia Inquirer, who has been covering this lack of conversation in America, and also that this is not an isolated incident, what has occurred here in New York in relationship to this cultural center. Could you talk about what some of you've been writing about?
Thanks for having me.